let's talk about building great cultures. How do you think about building culture? Maybe a set of principles or a framework that you use, or at least what's your mindset? And then I can dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, no, sure. I guess if I think about, LinkedIn, Runway, and InVision, like common theme across all of them is just like the purpose in those businesses, right? Like LinkedIn connecting, professionals to opportunity. Like I think 600 million people on that platform. Like the mission that they're sort of living every day is obviously great. Like Runway's mission, really powerful around leveling the playing field for people in enterprises and giving people a voice on sensitive topics and access to mentorship irrespective of what you look like or sound like in quite hierarchical cultures. And then like InVision, just this really powerful platform that's disrupting the way companies think about digital experiences, right? Like every company in the world today is arguably a digital product company, whether you're in pharmaceutical or automotive or finance. Like user experience now via screens is like a huge differentiator for businesses in how they think about reorientating like what they're doing given like competitive landscape. So all of these companies like great missions, but I think about like the culture in these different phases of like really tying that to what you're trying to understand or achieve as a business. So if you think about InVision at the moment, where we've got this really exciting product used by 5 million designers around the world. Companies work with some of the biggest companies, like 100% of the Fortune 100. But we're still building an international, right? There's a lot of great things, but there's also challenging things that come with like growing a team at breakneck speed and adding people and changing process constantly. And so I think when you think about culture, you've got to pull in like the context of where you're at as a company and really think about like defining that with clear vocabulary so that people can understand like what it is the culture represents and like the types of behaviors that are going to help you succeed as a business. And so, at InVision, we've gone through a company-wide exercise of like codifying the values and making sure that that's like integrated into how we define what it means to be at InVision and the types of things that are going to help you be great. And we've gone as far as like building that into how we do employee engagement and how we coach people and how we celebrate people. And so I would say like creating a vocabulary around the kind of culture and the values is like huge. Engage your teams, talk to your business stakeholders, find out like what it is you're trying to achieve as a company, and then use that context to define a set of language that people can really internalize and understand. And then think of ways in which you can bring that into everything you do. Like this can't happen in a vacuum. Like too many companies stick values up on the wall and they're great, but like no one remembers what they are. And so I think these businesses, like LinkedIn, like Runway, like InVision, like in my experience have all done a really good job of understanding like the power of culture and creating an environment where people can, understand it and thrive in it and contribute to it. And I think that's, an important part. Obviously lots of learnings through those, like InVision, we've grown so quickly, like we haven't got it all right over the last couple of years, but as you go through these, mistakes, you learn and you try and improve. And we've just got some great people here trying to figure this stuff out. So
that's great. So when you're thinking about, so you mentioned putting together a set of language that's common across the organization and applying that to everything that you do. It sounds both intuitive and maybe not intuitive at the same time, but those are the steps and the elements that you think are very important within building that culture. Do you have any foundational things that managers and leaders need to do in order to proliferate that language and proliferate the documentation or the definitions you've put together for what the culture is and how to bring that to the people within their teams?
100%. Yes. I think the documentation is really clear, like clear definitions and as many examples that you can bring to what it means, the better, like real life examples of like people who are living certain, behaviors all the time. Right. And so how then you bring that into all aspects of like when you're recruiting people, like, are you identifying those types of behavioral qualities in the people that you're interviewing and how are you doing that? And how can you make sure that that's consistent, right, through your hiring? Because again, like InVision's a great business and we're growing quickly, but it's not great for everyone, right? As sales professionals, like we're at a stage where we're growing at a pace where things break all the time. And you've got to embrace and love fixing that and building process and establishing like the fundamentals of the company, not just the selling part. And so how we, make sure that as part of our values and how we interview, we identify, people who perhaps have got brilliant talent and skill on the sales process, but perhaps aren't quite ready for the stage that we're at as a company where there's a build component too. that's really important. Like we need to set clear expectations with people coming into this company, that there's so much that's good, but there's also some challenging stuff. And if you're not the type of person that wants to thrive in an environment where you're having to build things as you go and develop process and help contribute to the sort of foundational things that are going to help Envision grow in international, like it's not going to be a great fit and you're not going to enjoy our culture. But people that look at it and say, like, that's exactly where I want to be and I want to have an impact beyond simply the sale, you know, that can obviously be quite exciting for some types of people. So yeah, document it, define it, integrate it into the types of people that you're looking to recruit. And then also like set a standard for, you know, what great looks like in your company too. Like how are people developing themselves against, you know, those examples? How do we celebrate them in one-to-ones? You know, it's got to be throughout everything, right? And if there are people living certain characteristics every day, like as a leadership team and as peers, we've got to create environments for them to celebrate and recognize each other for those, because it's those types of things I think just add to the quality of what we're doing culturally every day. So